Ingrid, can I quickly speak to you about Prince Harry? There was an interview, I don't know if you've seen it, at the weekend. He was at an event, I think he was as an author, he was kind of invited as a kind of to speak. And he was talking about the media, which is one of his favourite topics. But he did mention that he was aware of some of the kind of debate or some of the kind of gossip about his and the Duchess of Sussex's relationship. And I think he made a line saying, or I've read places or I've read online, you know, that we've meant to have divorced 10 times before or that we've moved house 10 times. I was surprised that Prince Harry ended up being drawn into talking about the gossip, that it is just gossip. You know, we know that they've been spending a lot of time apart, but it's just gossip as to, you know, this rumour about them kind of, you know, splitting up or anything like that. What did you think about Harry's comments? Were you as surprised as I was that he entertained that in a discussion point?
No, I wasn't surprised. No, I think because Harry, as far as we know, reads an awful lot that's written about him and he gets very frustrated by it. And he's also, together with Meghan, got this campaign to stop trolls being so cruel, especially to children. So it is at the forefront of his mind. And obviously he's irritated by the fact. Or maybe he's not even irritated. He'd just say, I'm supposed to have got divorced several times and moved house several times. Maybe it was more of a throwaway line than an absolute moan. But I think he probably wanted to make it clear that, you know, that everything was actually pretty rosy in the marriage, not as it has been reported. Because as we know, Harry has a continual ongoing war, I suppose, Harry's war with the press.
The reason why those rumours started was because they started doing separate engagements. They separated their what they do in America, their events, and you know, every time he's been here, he normally was a fuss, but now he just comes in and goes quickly, gets on with it and does it, and but never with her. And
well, he's got this ongoing thing with the government about security, and saying that he can't bring his wife and children because it's not secure, so he can't really suddenly turn up with them because that weakens his case. He's very tunnel visioned, Harry. He just goes for it, and he goes for the jugular, and he won't let go.
All right, folks, let's get into this. Prince Harry has officially crossed the line by throwing Kate Middleton under the bus. Now, this isn't just about sibling rivalry. This is about betraying family for profit. Harry rubbished Kate and Camilla in his book, his interviews, and his Netflix deal. But let's be real. Kate has done nothing but be a loyal and graceful royal. So why is he targeting her? Because it's profitable. Every time Harry trashes the royal family, he gets a paycheck from Netflix, book publishers, or his next PR stunt.
It's the vocalising it for me. It's actually going on record and talking about, you know, rumours about, you know, we're meant to have divorced 10 times already this year. Like, well, what's happened to the late Queen's mantra of never explain, never complain? I mean, is that gone out the window now, do you think?
Well, I think Charles used to, you know, make jokes about things. Okay. He did, but I think it's an icebreaker, really. And the Queen would never, ever do it because she was kind of above all that. But certainly Prince Charles, when he was Prince of Wales, he used to make a lot of jokes about you know, he's talking to his vegetables and you know, things like that. He made jokes about it. I think it is an icebreaker, and I feel that Harry was probably making a bit of a joke about this.
Well, Prince Charles might not have complained, but he certainly gave me a few telling-offs in my time, you know, so he certainly made it very clear to me a couple of times it wasn't all hunky-dory. I mean, you know, he used to get upset about the way Diana was, you know, really hounded by the media.
And then he used to say, I need 2 wives, one for each side of the road.
One for each side of the road, yeah, because she was so popular, yeah. But no, he used to get quite fractious sometimes about things like that, but that's how it is, you know. And Harry can do nothing right at the moment. I mean, whatever he says is interpreted in some way or other. You know, ever since he left this country, you know, the split's become huge between the royal family here and him and us and him and the media and him and it's mainly because he just rubbished the royal family. I mean, you can't rubbish the king's wife, Camilla, and expect to be easily forgiven. You can't rubbish William's wife and be easily forgiven. It's just...
Also, the Americans too, Arthur. I know that because I've spoken to a lot of them about this. It's the fact that he rubbished his own family, and Americans are very family-oriented. That's their roots.
And for profit, and you know, and that's really what that rankles with me, because Harry wasn't down to his last 30 bob, you know, when he had plenty of money. No, exactly. We don't need to do that.
He didn't need the money.
No.
But I suppose everyone needs the money, but he didn't really need the money.
No. It's interesting, a couple of minutes ago you made the point saying that people will, you know, everything he says, that everyone kind of reports on it. And he actually made that point in this interview where he said, well, I'm sure everyone will start commenting on everything that I've said. But we haven't on this interview, weirdly. It hasn't really been picked up very much. Maybe we're just getting a little bit tired. We've kind of heard it all before, and there's more important things going on here. Now, this week, I think the biggest event this week was Prince William meeting Donald Trump. I'm going to correct myself there. It's actually Donald Trump meeting Prince William. And what I mean by this is Donald Trump went to see Prince William in Paris. It was at the British Embassy. William was late because of the storms in the UK, and Donald Trump had to come after the Notre Dame ceremony to meet William. The palace are at pains to kind of point out that Prince William is maybe becoming or hoping to become a global statesman. Him going over to Paris to meet Donald Trump instead of the king, what do we make of that? Where does that put William on a global scale?
At this point, we have to ask, does Harry even believe what he's saying, or is he just cashing in on drama? Now let's talk about the Meghan Markle factor. Come on now, we all know Harry wasn't this hostile before Meghan. In his military days, he was beloved. As William's best man, charismatic and fun. Well, he's bitter, isolated, and constantly playing the victim. Here's the issue. Meghan and Harry have built their brand on attacking the royals. They don't have Hollywood careers. They don't have any real influence. All they have is their connection to the monarchy. And Meghan knows this. If Meghan truly wanted to move on, she would encourage Harry to stop attacking his family. Instead, every interview, every book, every podcast, they keep milking royal drama.
Well, I think William already is a global statesman, and I saw that when he went to Israel. He was outstanding there. You know, he was absolutely like the perfect diplomat. But I think, you know, Donald Trump is going to be the next president of America, and a lot of people in this country are concerned about that. But it was elected. They were elected by the people of America, and that's fine. And I think William, like the Prime Minister, has embraced that man, and the fact that we've got to work with him. And of course, when he came to England on a state visit when he was president last time, he praised the Queen, how much he liked the Queen, how much he liked the royal family. And I think that just reflects what he was with William. I think with William, you know, William's going to be the king one day, God willing. And I think Trump was just being really nice. And he's got that nice side to him. I experienced it once when I photographed him, and he was absolutely charming. So in spite of, you know, what we've seen in the build-up to the election and some of the things he's been saying on the stump, in fact, he can have a charming side to him, and I think that's worked with William.
There's no one that Arthur hasn't met.
Exactly.
You've even met Trump.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, I spoke to people who were there, because it was a small, tight little group. They were in the Salon Jaune, the yellow room at the ambassador's residence, and they said that Trump and his team were actually quite reverential, very polite, very respectful, and he treats the royal family in a certain way. But it's important that that our royal family, William and the King, have a good relationship with the President-elect of the United States.
I think it certainly is. I mean, certainly our Labour government doesn't seem to have a very good relationship with the President. And he's such an Anglophile, Trump. He loves everything British, or certainly because his mother was Scottish, and he says that's what he talked to the late Queen about. And William is young. He's perfect as a global ambassador for the UK and above politics, supposedly. So he's the perfect person to talk to Trump, and apparently they talked for about 40 minutes, which is a long time. And I am certain somehow he would have got in about climate change, because it is William's big thing. And we understand that Trump doesn't believe in climate change. So William would have found a subtle way of getting it in, I'm sure.
Well, that's right. So I think we had 40 seconds, I think, of their meeting, and I think Trump said that William was a good man, a tall man, I think he referenced, and later he described how William was a handsome man. So they clearly got on, but we don't know what was said for the rest of those 40 minutes. So, I mean, anything could have been discussed between the two, but this is where William now finds himself, standing in for the King, meeting world leaders. I mean, you have both known him basically since he was born. You know, is he a good fit to become, you know, this kind of face of Britain on the world stage?
Well, you took pictures of him as a baby, didn't you?
I did, when he came out of hospital with his mother's arms, yeah. But I mean, the thing is, if you remember, when our king was the Prince of Wales, he used to stand in for the Queen. He'd go to all the overseas funerals, and he did that for years. In fact, he cancelled his wedding to Camilla to go to the Pope's funeral. He didn't cancel, he put it back a day, sorry.
So we have to ask, is Meghan keeping Harry in this cycle for her own gain? Let's be real, the public is done with Harry's complaints. Remember when Harry was the fun prince? The one who everyone loved? That's gone now. His popularity in the UK is at an all-time low. Even in the US, people are getting tired of the victim narrative. And here's the kicker. Kate Middleton is more popular than ever. While Harry and Meghan complain, Kate shows up, does her job and represents the monarchy with dignity. That's why the public is rallying behind her.
Sorry about that, sir. And he put it back a day because he'd go to the funeral of Pope John Paul II. So they've always been doing that. And of course, you know, the King is lacking energy at the moment. You know, he's just come back from a really long tour of Australia and Samoa, and it was pretty gruelling for him. I know because I was there; it was gruelling for me too. Yep. But it was, but you know, and it's the right thing for William to do. You know, if you want to see William's going to one day be the head of state, be the monarch, be the, you know, and I think it's right that he should be there meeting these world leaders, and he does it very well.
Well, do you think, because we were told that there was it was a last minute change. I think with things with Donald Trump, they often are kind of last minute when you've got the president-elect. And William was given very short notice to go. The King couldn't make it. Do we think there's anything more than the fact that the King just had a diary clash? He wasn't avoiding the King. Or is there a protocol where the King might have to meet the president when he becomes the president? I mean, why William instead of the King, Arthur?
I think because William was available to go, and probably the King had too much on his plate. And also, look, you know, he's energy with him at the moment. You know, he's only got so much energy, and it was a sort of in and out visit, and perhaps he felt, you know, maybe it was for William to do.
I think absolutely. I think William is definitely the right person to do this. And as Arthur said, you know, when he was younger, Charles did a lot of these things for the Queen, and it was a Sunday, and you know, he probably needed to rest up. But I'm sure it wasn't as last minute as the palace made out, because there would have been quite a lot of arrangements to be made.
Absolutely.
And I mean, ever since he was a kid, a little boy, William has always been so polite and, you know, very thoughtful. And I remember Diana saying, you know, that William would actually think, and he'd be very polite, and he'd shake hands with people. The only person he was rude to was Bob Geldof. Do you remember?
Well, and also he was also
his hair was messy.
Very circumspect with him as well. You know, with Harry's brother, I remember when they were learning to ski, within 20 minutes, Harry was like flying, and William was crying. I mean, he just couldn't get hold of it. I mean, he's just a bit, he's not adventurous like that, but
he thinks before he acts,
does, yeah.
And Harry acts before he thinks.
Well, I mean, I think it's quite well known that Harry and Donald Trump, or Harry and Meghan and Donald Trump, don't particularly get on. I wonder if those conversations took place in the 40 minutes.
I think Meghan don't get on with him. That's probably why Harry don't get on with him. I don't think, you know, I mean, Harry's he's a pretty affable guy, you know, and he would, if it was necessary, he'd obviously get on with him. You know, if he was now working with the royal family and Donald Trump made an official visit here, Harry would do his job and do it properly. Well,
that's the importance. Is like with William not expressing opinions about world leaders means that he can go in and have a 40-minute chat, and Donald Trump is reverential and he's representing the UK. I mean, that's the reason why they don't come out with statements or comments that Harry and Meghan have done about Trump in the past. But that's probably me just talking about.
You're dealing with the President of the United States, a very powerful, you know, role. I mean, you're dealing with the President of the United States, not about a person who's the President. It's, you know, he's elected representative of a most powerful country in the world and leader of the free world. So he's a man you should respect and cater for.
So Harry trashing Kate isn't just cruel, it's a bad strategy. Now let's talk about something that makes this even worse. That's right, Harry is already wealthy. He inherited millions from Diana's estate. He has Netflix and book deals worth hundreds of millions. He has everything he could ever need. So if Harry doesn't even need the money, why is he still doing this? Because at this point it's not just about cash, it's about resentment. He wants revenge against William. He wants validation for leaving the monarchy. And he wants to prove he made the right choice, even if it's costing him his family. But let's be real. If he had no regrets, he wouldn't still be obsessing over them.
Well done, William.
Well done, William. Yeah,
Top marks. Well there.
Top marks, William.
Top marks. One thing that I did read afterwards, that Donald Trump had done an interview, I think, in the United States, and he spoke about this private conversation that he'd had with William in the ambassador's residence, and he said that William had told him that the king was fighting very hard, amid his cancer. What do we take from that? What do you read into that, Arthur?
Well, I think the latest news I've heard is that the king is well. He's winning the battle. But it is a battle. I mean, cancer's not it's a nasty thing, and it doesn't discriminate. And I think I saw him recently, and he looked in pretty good shape. I think about that with that treatment he gets. I think that does require a lot of energy, and I think that's his problem. But he's he just can't stop him. I mean, as Camilla said recently, if only he'd do what the doctors told him, he'd be all right.
And also, he now has all his kingly duties as well, the duties of monarch. Oh. And, appointments every 20 minutes at Buckingham Palace during the day. So he has an awful lot more on his plate than he had before. And so he has to pace himself, and he's not very good at that.
At this point, can Harry even be forgiven? He attacked his father, King Charles. He rubbished his brother, Prince William. He turned on Kate Middleton, one of the most respected royals. William and Kate haven't fired back. They've taken the high road. And that is why the public respects them. So here's the truth. If Harry ever wants to be forgiven, he needs to stop the attacks. No more books. No more Netflix specials. No more interviews trashing his family. Because until then, he will never regain the trust of the public. So where does this leave us? Kate Middleton is more respected than ever. Prince William is focused on his duty. King Charles is leading the monarchy forward. And Harry? Still complaining, still cashing in, still burning bridges. At some point, Harry has to make a choice. Does he want to be a royal again? Or does he want to keep selling family secrets for cash? Because he can't have both. So what do you think? Can Harry ever be forgiven? Is he doing this for money or something more? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.